clearly are a polarized nation. We've heard that, spatially, socially, economically, and politically. The cost of corruption and maladministration to poor communities has been immense and will take a long time and hard, deliberate, systemic work to address and to change for the better. And what that book does is to make suggestions as to how do we begin. It has brought us to the brink of losing the glimmer of the post-apartheid promise of a just, reconciled, peaceful, equitable, and sustainable South Africa, free of racism, tribalism, xenophobia, and gender prejudices, free of corruption and deprivation which results from corruption, with food and shelter for every citizen wherever they live, and where every child born can grow to its God-given potential. Now, the churches call this the South Africa we pray for, because of course we pray. But we must pray and work. What GIBS has done is to bring a startling freshness, yet saying very obvious things. They are so obvious and we wonder, why didn't somebody say them before? As I say, he tells us that the Titanic is sinking. But he also tells us there are not enough life jackets for everyone on board. So we've got to find some way of sharing the life jackets we have. That means we have to have trade-offs. That's what he's talking about. And I want to suggest that that calls for a revisiting of the parameters for dialogue. It cannot be that those people whom he calls the historically wealthy, can continue to enjoy that without consequence. Nor can those who had a hope for a different future remain in the twilight of that hope. This particularly applies to young people because they don't have that history at all. What they know is what they experience today. And GIBS has taken some trouble to talk about two things that apply to young people. One is education, and the other is just the whole question of the youth dividend. None of our current national policies have changed the fact that 55.2% of young people between 15 and 24 are unemployed and are out of school. And the reality is that more than half of the South African population lives in abject poverty. The reality is that every year we throw out into the unemployable pool some 500,000 young people who drop out from the 1 million. Note this, every year 1 million children start grade 1, every year. Every year we have about 500,000 writing matric. What has happened to the other half? Every year the Minister of Education proudly announces 50 or 60% pass of the half. And only about 120 or 150,000 actually go to university. And those, in the main, will fail in the first year. Sisengela phansi, milking to the ground. And so we're throwing out droves of children into the street without marketable skills. And of course, that is the reality we live in. And I don't want to spend more time on this, but just to say that we need a clear signal that begins from these conversations that things are going to be done differently.